Welcome, everyone, to some Nighttime, the show after the show, where we talk about the show.
It actually is nighttime.
It actually is very late. It is. We haven't done one of these since the season 2 ended.
Yeah.
Is that right?
Yeah.
Oh, my goodness.
That is correct, yeah. And, well, we thought we'd do another one to kind of just talk about how we feel about doing 100 episodes and also just to do one.
Yeah.
So... we didn't do any Q&A stuff, so we're just going to shoot the breeze, and this might be shorter than an hour. I hope it is, because I will be tired by then.
If the breeze is slow enough, we can shoot it real quick, and then...
Right.
Yeah, and then just be on our way, yeah. Easy money. So I think I just want to, because this is me genuinely curious, how do both of you feel about hitting 100 episodes? Like, how do you feel about that?
It's kind of like staring at the Grand Canyon, like... Trying to describe how big something is, like there's not really word, like at this point it's a number. Like I can think in my head and understand that we've hit 100 episodes, but I can't quite grasp, like we have recorded 100 plus episodes of tomfuckery. Like that doesn't seem real.
Yeah. 3 years of time. Like it doesn't feel like that's how long pretty much that I was in college, right? I mean, I was in there for 3.5 years. So that felt like an eon of time, like being in college. It felt like forever.
Feel like
and
we've been doing this for 3 years.
It's kind of amazing.
No. Like that. Maybe it's because when you get older, time moves, like it feels faster.
Right.
But I don't know. Jamie, how do you feel about it?
It's a little bit of an odd answer, but like, it's when you said that it's been 3 years, I can't help feeling like my sense of that time is all jumbled because like a solid half of it has been in the age of quarantines and shit, you know?
That's
like,
true, yeah.
It's super weird that so much of it has been during this really bizarre thing in history, I guess. Where like
more of it has been recorded remotely than in person.
Exactly. Yeah. At one time, that kind of seemed like it would be very unlikely, you know? It seemed like us trying to do this in different locations, just like seeing each other in little windows on a screen would be unthinkable, right? And now it's kind of the way we most often do it.
What was the first time we recorded remotely was before pandemic was even a thing.
Yep.
What was our reason? Was it because...
I don't know.
Jake, do you remember?
I don't, because that was when that was when we were living like down the street from each other. Because at the time, you guys were in East Street Flats.
Yeah.
And I was just down the street.
Yeah.
So I don't remember. I genuinely don't remember why we recorded remotely that first time.
Was it something like maybe one of us was sick and you just didn't, like, because you had Odin at the time,
right? Odin was a new
and
baby.
You really didn't want him to get sick.
That sounds sounds real. Like that sounds like a thing that would.
I think that's what it was because I'm really glad we did that because then we were able to kind of figure out how to do it
before we needed to.
Yeah.
And so when the time came along, we already had this as a back pocket thing that we had done once or twice already. So that kind of saved us then. Yeah. So it wasn't like what do we got to do? It's like, we all have our own microphone already. We already know how to use Skype. We already know how to record it separately.
Yeah.
Right.
And
I will say there was a little bit of a learning curve going from I had like the fourth hand-me-down MacBook that I had owned.
Yeah.
And so I was so used to using like QuickTime to record everything because it was so simple just with whatever the Mac user interface, because it was just like boom, boom, done, done. And then moving from that to a non-Mac interface, having to relearn how to use Audacity and make sure all my inputs were correct and everything. That was a whole process. But
I will admit, I think recording remotely, though, has allowed us more opportunities to record. Because beforehand, you needed someone to watch your son. But then it could become, once you put him to bed, then you could record. And we didn't have to wait for travel time for you to get here. Like, it could just be when it was. And if it didn't work out, because, maybe he couldn't go to bed that night or just work was tough, that didn't put pressure on us to travel anywhere. It was just like, okay, let's do it another day then.
Yeah, I feel like recording remotely has given us a lot of weird pros versus cons of like, we have 3 separate audio tracks we can use now, and we can edit those without having like reverb or background noise.
Yeah.
And then
no reverb. I can take out when we cough or sneeze or amplify one of our audios over the other. It is way better audio separately.
And then like in that same respect of recording, when it works for us, it does remind me a lot of like being back in college and having those weird off hours of like, it's later than 8 p.m. so everything is closed and most people are in bed, but I still have people around me that I can hang out with because I want to.
Yeah, and everyone is like within walking distance.
Right.
It's not difficult to make that happen. And then you leave that situation and suddenly it's so much more complicated to get those times to work on a schedule, you know?
Yeah. And part of me thought that recording, I mean, I think it definitely was. When we first started recording separately, the energy between us was different.
Yeah.
Like, it wasn't the same. And obviously, the first 2 episodes of season 3, we did record in person because we held hands, right?
Yes.
And that was so fun. That energy was special.
Yeah.
But I think I've still had some of those just hilarious moments even since then.
Oh, yeah.
Like, where I'm just gut laughing. Even while I'm editing, I'll know something's funny because I will just be wheezing laughing at just the dumbest jokes.
That's one thing that I am slightly grateful that I don't interact with the editing process so much, is that when from the time that we record the episode to the time it takes for the episode to come out, I have forgotten everything. And so
it's been a couple months. Yeah.
So when the episode is like posted and I listen to it for the first time, we're really funny. Like I will find myself in the car, like riding somewhere, and like I'll look around for people to agree with me that what we just said was fucking hysterical, and I'll realize I'm just by myself in my car laughing like an idiot. But like there are so many moments where like I, as Jake, like completely forget that like we're really funny. And that seems like a really dickish thing to say, but like we're really funny and we're really funny.
Yeah.
So let's talk about that. Again, 100 episodes. Funniest moments. I'll start. I think for me, funniest moments are, Jake, whenever you and I have a duo character.
Oh, of
so
course.
Like Pemberley and Simmons, Rory and Stingo and Rar.
Stingo and Rar,
yeah.
And then even the trainers.
Yes.
Right?
Yeah.
Oh. Like whenever we have a duo partner character,
of course,
we bounce off each other. So even I think with wasn't the Pidgeotty Farmers, that was a duo,
yeah.
right?
Yeah.
Those are just Pillup and whatever the name was. Yeah. Those are my favorite moments that I laugh at. I think the moment I laughed at the most recently was listening to the final scene with Pemberley and Simmons, where we realized to add extra vowels. And when you said throat,
wait, instead of what?
Instead of throat.
My throat. Performance. It's such a stupid humor, and it is hilarious.
Gosh. I mean, I would have to say pretty much a very similar answer to that, because like the characters that you guys come up with and that get sort of weirdly inspired and like tagged on and developed on the spot for whatever reason end up being so strange and I guess unexpected, even though they shouldn't be unexpected. God, it's just really fantastic. I was just recently listening to I think it was Kelly who sent me a message. It was like, man, I'm listening to 318 right now, and God, the opening to that one is so funny. And I was just like, wow, I guess I gotta go listen to that opening again. And it's the one where the magistrate is like giving a monologue about how much he hates everyone and how no one respects tradition, but we can't stop making fun of him, so it like really ruins the tone of the scene. So that by the time everyone else comes in the room, we're just not ready for anything serious, and we end up having him say, "What is all this tomfuckery?"
I remember that.
It's so good. Just the flow of how the scene is supposed to be one thing, but because of who we are as people, it becomes something else, is really something special.
I remember that episode because we have had a couple episodes where it starts serious, right? There's the episode after Katrina leaves in season 1, the opening for season 2, where it's like a nice panning in monologue, of Raynor's message being delivered to Lord Pedrick Cartham.
That was fun.
Right? These nice dramatic moments. And I'm like, oh, we'll do that. But then the punchline will be when everyone comes in and ruins that emotional beat.
Right.
But you guys were like, no. We'll do it sooner.
Yeah.
Yeah, I feel like to simplify that down, I would say anytime we free ourselves from the shackles of like plot, whether that be creating characters that like shit, fucking shit. I still stand by that's probably my favorite, if not like top 2 favorite moments in the entire freaking Knight's Quest is shit. Shit. But just like those times where we either create a character that doesn't have plot armor, that where it just doesn't matter what happens or what they say or like it just does, like Terrence. Like those are the times where we can we just do.
We can improv at our finest. Yeah.
Right.
But I feel like that also goes to just those moments where like Mark and like all the stuff that happened. I'm thinking a lot back to like season 1, but that's because I feel like season 1 we had so little like plot constraints, and so there was a lot more new being made. And I feel like
that's fair.
And I feel like lately it's not that we don't create more stuff, it's just that we're a lot more focused and driven on like we have an established world now and these are the people in it and we're going somewhere. Whereas before,
and we care about them.
And we care what happens.
Right.
Whereas before it was just like and there's cows and Leroy's here.
He has no hands.
There's a guy who will buy and sell anything, but only for a single unit of the worst currency we
for
have.
a penny, basically.
$1. It's $1. I think that's one of the main reasons why I want to end the story after season 3, so that we can get a new template.
Yeah,
because like we've said, we've built something, and I love the story. I love the serious moments, like they've hit, they've hit, and I love that because that means we're telling a good story. If like we and the listeners are even like emotionally invested, like with the Bernshard and Eloise, that whole up and down roller coaster, man, that was just wild.
In the Oasis with the
the Azomite.
Oh god, yeah.
That clearly shows like even though we're dicking around, we're attached to these characters.
Yeah. Oh, and the entire subplot with, and I'm gonna break this into 2 parts, and this might sound like I'm jacking myself off, but I'm not, because it's about Katrina. But being able to jump back and forth between like Katrina as a more like serious, more grown up, more adult storyline, and like the Dick Squad. Being able to jump back and forth and have those moments of like seriousness and then continue that plot with everyone back together of like real family shit. Like the whole thing with Katrina's parents and her, like there was a very distinct moment that I can remember, and I don't remember what exactly was said, but Katrina like finally like confronts and brings it out in the open with her parents, and there's just a beat of like, damn.
I think that's 2-9. I think that's what it was. After she rescues her dad from the king and the captain. So that's I think that's why a reset would be helpful, because our best moments are when the 3 of us get to co-create. We do that in Goldon because there's no like, oh, Nathan, we don't know what this world is. We just make stuff up together. Versus now that we're in Tareve and in Rillian, I've noticed that you guys will lean a lot more towards asking questions and I answer, because you're like, well, what does Nathan have? And sometimes I do have a thing where I'm like, oh, this is the plan. Sometimes I'm like, there's it's this thing.
No,
and
for sure.
I like it best when we're making things together because that, like I said, I think we all agreed those are our favorite funny moments, favorite storytelling moments.
Yeah.
So I want to, when I reset the story, having our characters know more about the world. Because when we were in Goldon, of course Jonathan knew the people there because he lived there. Of course Raynor could say something and it made sense that he knew that. Raynor doesn't know Rillian, so it doesn't make sense for him to say that. So I think in season 4 we'll have the characters have a bit more knowledge of the world, so that, or like connection to outside places, so that way you can just say things and they're true.
Right.
It's a learning game. It's a learning process.
Boy, I'm trying to think of how to put this. I think, and it's fairly simple, so it's not going to be like the deepest observation, but there are moments where something very clever or funny or interesting will come up, and in hindsight it seems super obvious, but for some reason we hadn't thought of it until that point, you know? Which the example that I was thinking of is like even just random funny things, like when Jonathan used the disguise kit to be Noble Mincer. Like at the time that was the funniest thing ever, but then looking back I was like, I can't believe we never thought of this before now. Like it seems so perfect. I feel like there's got to be a bunch of other examples for that kind of thing, but nothing's coming to mind right this second.
Well, that's all the time we have for this nighttime. I know it's not crazy long. I'm looking at the timer. Yeah, it's not very long. But we just kind of ran out of time. But if you do want more nighttime, us discussing how we're feeling, we have our first episode on Patreon. Our first Patreon exclusive episode is up and ready, or should be up sometime today, if not the second this comes out. So come and join us on Patreon at the middle tier, the Magician tier, and you'll be able to hear that episode. Also, if you want to get in on the very first, very exclusive Patreon sticker, you have until the end of December to join us at the highest tier, and you'll get access to that sticker. It's a once and done thing. But yes, I want to give a big shout out to all of our Patreon supporters, especially our better tier, Lowell, Mike, Lauren Grace, and those dang high elves again. We're very, very grateful for all your support. It's been super cool to see, just you guys supporting us. So you are welcome to join us at kqpodcast.com. Click the Patreon button or patreon.com/kqpodcast. It's like you flip it. Come join us. We're having a lot of fun on the Discord, having a lot of fun. Just engaging and all kinds of good things. So we hope to see you there. Again, another episode in 1 week. 1 week from today. So we will see you there. Thank you all for listening to 100 plus hours of content that have taken up your time in life. We really appreciate you guys as fans. May your place in his story belong.